My father, Tommy Henschel, God rest his soul, he would have been proud of me what I'd done with my life. Well, until today, I used to play washboard in a skiffle band till they went and saw the Beatles last Tuesday night and sacked me Wednesday morning. Ironic, because I started the Beatles. I saw them in Hamburg. I said to that John Lennon, I said, John, you're going nowhere, mate. It's embarrassing. Have you ever considered writing your own songs? So I'm skint, busking, guitar, mouth organ on a rack, bass drum tied to me foot, and the definition of mental illness, cymbals between my knees. I'm in the middle of Victoria Station, and this Larry bloke comes over and he says, do you do requests? I say, yeah. And he says, I'd like you to play a song for me mother. I said, sure. Where is she? And he says, Tasmania. So I nutted him. Tasmania. This little bloke, Roscoe Crab, seeing all this and offers me a week's work in Brighton. Says he needs a bit of muscle. But this is all fat, I tell him. But I need a wage. I haven't eaten since last night, and I don't get paid until the end of the week, and I can't stop thinking about chips. I live above a pub, and I don't even have enough shrapnel for a pint. There may be a bag of discarded chips in here. No, Francis! You can't go through the bins! You gotta take your mind off of chips. Think about something boring like Canada. Canada.
Sitting behind these windows and these parapets of stone, gazing at the people down below me. All my life I've watched them as I lie here alone, hungry for the history
my name's Alex Brew and I'm a stage manager here at SIU. I just wanted to get started off by telling you a little bit about my journey here and how I found myself in the focus of stage management. So I came here in the beginning of my junior year as a transfer student from Red Lake College. I didn't know what I wanted to do as soon as I got here. I didn't know what I wanted my focus to be, if I wanted it to be more on the scenic side or if I wanted to take more of a production role in shows. So my first semester, I was getting my feet kind of dug in, and my second semester is when I really started to lift off in my aspirations as a theater practitioner. I started my first show here as an ASM for Sunday in the Park with George. Really learned a lot during that show. Stephen G. Tabor was my PSM for that show. He taught me a lot. I also learned a lot from our stage management supervisor, Kaylee Scanlon. And during that, I really fell in love with the process of the rehearsal, the production, all of the performances. Really fell in love with being behind the scenes as a stage manager, working with the actors, getting to work with the production team. It was a really great experience for me. So immediately following Sunday in the Park with George, I got the opportunity to PSM my first show, which was Bear, and that was a fierce show that was put on by the Department of Theater here at SIU. And it was a smaller show held in the Mo, but nonetheless, it was my first PSM show, and that was when I really fell in love with stage management. I really fell in love with working with all of the actors, and it gave me some opportunities to be presented with some difficult situations that were challenging for me at the time, but I learned a lot from them, and it really got me on my way. So after that summer, I had my first professional job working in theater as a general technician for McLeod Summer Playhouse. Also learned a lot during that experience. I got to do a lot more hands-on work in the shop that summer, working as an electrician, as a carpenter in the shop, as a props artisan. I did a lot of stuff that summer and it was very fun. Then when we came back in the fall, I had my first job, then working on Evil Dead as a props master and a scenic artist for that show. And that was one of the highlights of that fall for me. I loved working on props for that. So many fun projects to work on. And then as soon as I got done with that, I went straight into PSMing my first main stage show, which was To Kill a Mockingbird. That was my first, I wouldn't say real PSM gig, but it was definitely my first large show to work on with a giant production team. And also I had the opportunity to be in more of a mentor role for my ASM that worked with me, Allison, on that show. And I learned a lot by teaching her, and it was really a time for me to come into my own as a stage manager and as a leader in the rehearsal space, and I enjoyed that very much. The following semester, I worked as a PSM for my first main stage musical on Musical of Musicals, the musical. And that show was amazing fun. I was also working as a props master for that show at the time, and it was a lot of work, but it definitely taught me a lot about juggling opportunities that were placed at my feet. And the production process had a lot of challenges that were thrown at me, and I really got to learn how to handle many things being thrown at me from different aspects of the production team, and that was a great experience. Then COVID hit, unfortunately, and we all kind of had a lull, but we've come back this fall and I'm working on Tuck. Well, actually, I just got done working on Tuck. Had my last rehearsal last week. But for that show, I've had a lot of fun paperwork to show you. This process for me, graduating this semester, has been pretty challenging, but nonetheless, I really loved working with the actors and the whole production team again, and it's really ignited my love for theater after the COVID outbreak and everything. So some of the paperwork you'll see that I have up on the screen, we always start off with auditions and coming up with a cast list, and then we send out company rules, and then throughout the process we're always working on design meetings and production meetings, and you can see a copy here of some production meeting notes that we go through. Then we have master rehearsal schedule that gets sent out to everyone. This is just a little excerpt. And then we start the rehearsal process. So every night there's a daily call sent out. Every night there is a rehearsal report sent out following the rehearsal. So that's notes about what's getting done at rehearsal, any notes we have for the production team, anything like that. And then you'll also see an example of my blocking script here that I have. It's just how we stage managers keep track of everyone's blocking during the show. You'll also see a little bit of a scene shift plot, and then you'll see an example of my cue script from Musical and Musicals. Obviously I don't have a cue script from Tech Everlasting right now, but this is just one of the many cue scripts I have, and it's a pretty intricate section, so you can see what stage managers are calling while you guys are watching the brilliance on stage. At the end here, you'll just see some miscellaneous pictures of some props work and scene painting projects I've done for the school. A couple of them are pictures of props that I designed and curated in our props class, and then a few of them are pictures of scene painting projects I did in class, and then you'll see a picture of some stonework that I painted in Evil Dead. But other than that, those are just some of my favorite projects I've worked on while I've been here. I hope you enjoy everyone's videos, and I hope you have a great rest of your holiday season. Happy holidays, everyone.
Okay, when doctors start using phrases like, "You'll pass away," what could I say? Said doctor, in plain English, tell me why was I chosen? Why me of all men? Doctor, here's the good part. At least death means I'll never be scared about dying again. Let's get on with living while we cannot play dumb. Death's gonna come. When it does, screw the nerves. I'll be eating more nerves. It's the roll of the dice and no crime. You gotta die sometime. Death is not a friend, but I hope in the end he picks me in his arms and lets me hold his face. He takes me in his arms and whispers something funny. He lifts me in his arms and tells me to embrace his attack. And the scene turns to black. Life sucks. People always hate a loser and they hate lame ducks. Screw me in shucks. That's it. That's the ball game. I don't smoke, don't do drugs, and then comes the bad news. I quit. That's the ball game. It's the chink in the armor, the shit in the karma, the blues. Can I keep my cool despite the urge to fall apart? How should I start? I would cry if I could, but it does no damn good to explain I'm a man in my prime. You gotta die sometime. That's a funny power with a weird sort of talent. He picks me in his arms and walks me to the bed. He puts me in his arms and kisses me like crazy. He picks me in his arms, tells me to embrace with delight. And the scene turns to white. Give me the balls to orchestrate it gracefully. That's my reprieve, to go out without care, my head high in the air. It's the last little mountain I'll climb. I'll climb. You gotta die sometime.
sorry. Can we stop for just a second? I feel like I need to say something, Barry. This piece that I'm doing for class, it's exactly what I should be doing, okay? I am terrified. I mean, this piece is real. It's not a character. It's me, raw, unapologetic truth with a capital T. Or all caps, actually. I'm thinking like a writer now. I mean, this was stuff I couldn't even talk about without lying, and now here I am about to strip naked in front of a bunch of strangers and share something that I'm massively ashamed of. No, not literally. I don't believe in nudity unless it drives the story forward. I mean, like, I'm afraid they're gonna judge me, or I'm afraid that Sam is gonna find out and do something crazy. But I have to do this, okay? This is my story to tell. But then so many other women have the same story. What am I, a spokesperson for them now? Can I be the face of a movement? And like, I mean, I resent the fact that Nick can get up there and talk about his stomach condition without becoming the poster boy for bulimia. But whatever I say, it's like, I don't know, what are we saying about women? I mean, this is just my story. But what if you get it wrong, Sally? I don't know. You can't get it wrong, Sally, but you can't not tell it either, Sally, because it's who you are. Which makes this thing that my agent sent me on today so fucking insulting. Payback, ladies? Oh, it's just another shit male idea of what strong women are. Oh, grab a gun and some stilettos and get a goddamn blowout. Look how strong you are now, Sally. It's bullshit. Which, by the way, so is this. This is quite possibly the worst thing I've ever read. But you wanna know the worst part? You wanna know what is driving me really fucking crazy? I am so jealous of you. I have never had a director's session for a feature, which is the same thing as a movie, P.S. And I've been doing this way longer, and I think you would agree I am way better, okay? I made you. But like, you know, of course I'm happy for you. And of course I want you to get this, and I want to be the one to help you learn your lines, fix your inflections, but just know that if you do get this, I'm gonna be like 100 times more crazy, okay? Continue.
There are no bathrooms for me here. There are no bathrooms. There are no colored bathrooms in this building or any other building outside the West Campus, which is half a mile away. Did you know that? I have to walk to Timbuktu just to relieve myself. And I can't use one of the fancy bikes. Imagine that, Mr. Harrison. My uniform, skirt below my knees, heels, and a simple string of pearls. Well, I don't own pearls. Lord knows y'all don't pay color folks enough to own pearls. And I work like a dog, day and night, living off a coffee pot none of you want to touch. So excuse me if I have to go to the restroom a few times a day.
If I was a girl in a book, this would all be so easy. I could just give up the world happily. I don't know. I've always been quite content with my family. I don't understand it. Perhaps I was too quick in turning him down. Lori, I think if he asked again, I would say yes. Do you think he'll ask again? Why does it matter if I love him? It doesn't matter if I love him. I care more to be loved. I want to be loved, and I know it is not the same thing as loving, but I feel like women, they have minds, and they have spirits, as well as just hearts, and they have talent and ambition, as well as just beauty, and I am just so sick of people saying that love is all a woman is fit for. I am just so sick of it. But I'm so alone.
was the one who had it all. I was the master of my fate. I never needed anybody in my life. I learned the truth too late. I'll never shake away the pain. I close my eyes, but she's still there. I let her steal into my melancholy heart. It's more than I can bear. Now I know she'll never leave me, even as she runs away. She will still torment me, call me, hurt me, move me, come what may. Wasting in my lonely tower, waiting by an open door. I'll fool myself, she'll walk right in and be with me forevermore. I rage against the trials of love. I curse the fading of the light. Though she's already flown so far beyond my reach, she's never out of sight. Now I know she'll never leave me, even as she fades from view. She will still inspire me, be a part of everything I do. Wasting in my lonely tower, waiting by an open door. I'll fool myself, she'll walk right in. And as the long, long nights begin, I'll think of all that might have been, waiting here forever more.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy. And yet, he talks well. But what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks pleases those that hear. 'Tis a pretty youth, but not very pretty. But sure, he's proud. And yet, his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make offense, his eyes did heal it up. He's not very tall, and yet for his years he's tall. His leg is but so, and yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip, a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheeks. It was just the difference betwixt the constant red and mingled damask. There be some women, Sylvius, who, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone so far as to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not, and yet have more cause to hate him than love him. For what had he to do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black, and mine hair was black, and now I remembered scorned at me. I marvel why I not again answered. But all is one, omittance is no quittance. I shall write a very taunting letter, and thou wilt deliver it. Wilt thou, Sylvius?
Lo! She is one of this confederacy! Now I perceive see they have conjoined all three to fashion this false sport in spite of me. Injurious Hermia! Most ungrateful maid. Have you conspired? Have you with these contrived to bait me with this foul derision? Is all the counsel we two have shared, the sisters' vows, the hours we have spent when we have chid the hasty-footed time for parting us, oh, is it all forgot? Those school days friendships, childhood innocence. We, Hermia, like two artificial gods, have with our needles created both one flower, both on one sampler, both sitting on one cushion, both warbling of one song, both in one key, as if our hands, our sides, voices, and minds had been incorporate. So we grow together, like to a double cherry, seeming parted, but yet one union in partition. Two lovely berries molded on one stem, so with two seeming bodies, but one heart. Two of the first, like coats and heraldry, due but to one and crowned with one crest. And will you rend our ancient love asunder to join with men in scorning your poor friend? It is not friendly. 'Tis not maidenly. Our sex, as well as I, may chide you for it, though I, alone, do feel the injury.
Without any further assistance or guidance from you, I've loved you assiduously for 8 months, 2 weeks, and a day. And I've been stood up 4 times. Oh, and I've left you 7 packages, 40 poems, 2 plants, and 3 handmade notes that I have to go out of town to send. And you don't know assistance to me. Oh, but you can call at 3 o'clock in the morning on weekends so I could drive 27 and a half miles before I have to go to work. And you don't know assistance to me. So let me tell you something. All of this was an experiment. Yep. To see if I could be selfish. I could go on possibly snaring a lover if I was capable of debasing myself for the love of another. If I could stand not being wanted when I wanted to be wanted. And I could not. So, without any further assistance or guidance from you, I'm ending this affair. And this plant that I've been watering today I met you, well, guess what? You may water it your damn self.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles by opposing in them. To die to sleep no more. And to sleep to say we end the heartache and 1,000 natural shocks that flesh should dare to. To die to sleep for chance to dream. Aye. There's the road. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come. When we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There is the respect that makes calamity of soul on life. Who would bear the whips and scorns of time? The oppressor's wrong? The proud man's contumely? The pangs of despised love? The insolence of office? When he himself is quiet as snake with a bare bodkin? Who would these fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the country from whom no traveler returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear the ills we have than fly to others we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all. Thus the native hue of resolution is sickly o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment their currents turn awry. Soft you now, fair Ophelia, nymph in thy orisons, be all my sins remembered.
Hello, my name is Michelle Macredo, and I'm a theater technician with a lighting and stage management focus. Throughout my time here at SIU, I've tried my best to be as well-rounded of a technician as possible. So today, I'm going to show you my portfolio and some of the things I've had the opportunity of working on over these past 4 years. Boys from Syracuse was the first production I had the opportunity of working on here at SIU. I was an electrician for this show, and it really forced me to start getting over my fear of heights when it came to focusing lights above stage. My freshman year, I also had the opportunity to work on the show Gem of the Ocean. I was working on this production in 2 roles. I was once again an electrician, but this was also my first time being the assistant stage manager as well. One of my favorite things about this show was the lighting effects that were created. On the top left, you are able to see the ribs that lined both stage left and stage right. In particular parts of the show, these ribs would glow in light to reveal a hidden symbol that was such an interesting thing to build. The large photo on the right was a huge moment in the show that transformed us to the City of Bones. Within this moment, it was very important for me as an assistant stage manager to know when my crew members were ready to make this magic occur. Throughout my summer of 2018, I had the chance of working at McLeod Summer Playhouse as a general technician. This really gave me the opportunity to dip my foot into multiple roles. For the show Jungle Book, I was an electrician, a general technician, and the light board operator. This was the first show I was a part of that ran for more than just a weekend, and I was able to learn a lot about how to work around arena seating and the platforms that the performers used when performing lighting maintenance. Throughout the show 9 to 5, I was able to work heavily as a painter. While working on the show, I was able to learn a lot about large-scale texture. I also had other roles in the show as well, such as an electrician and a spotlight operator. One of the shows I learned the most from throughout my summer at McLeod Summer Playhouse was the production of Mamma Mia. One of the most challenging things in this production was creating the light wall that was used during the final number. In the center image, you are able to see the cable management that went into creating this piece. As frustrating as it was to create that light wall, it was an amazing thing to hear the audience when it came to their reaction for the final number, which can be seen in the lower right-hand corner. The last production of McLeod Summer Playhouse was the production of Once Upon a Mattress. Throughout this production, I was able to have the role of an electrician as well as a painter. This production really gave me the opportunity to utilize texture, and it was such an intricate set to work on. On the right side, you are able to see the stack of mattresses my prop Miss Master and I were able to put together. These photos are also from the production of Once Upon a Mattress. However, they're a little closer up to the set so you could see all the detail that was painted on. The following photos are from the Jesse McCartney concert I worked on at Triac Auditorium. I work at Triac Auditorium as both an electrician as well as an events supervisor. Working at Triac Auditorium throughout my time here at SIU has given me the opportunity to do other types of event lighting as well as concerts. The following concerts that we have at Triac Auditorium could be like band concerts, orchestra concerts, choir concerts, and dance events. I started working at Triac Auditorium my spring semester of freshman year, and I currently still work there. The last production I had the opportunity of opening here at SIU was the show Musical of Musicals, The Musicals, and I was able to do so as an electrician. One of my favorite things while working on the show was creating the speakeasy sign, which can be seen on the right side. Throughout my education at SIU, I have tried to take as many tech classes as possible. So as you can see, I have learned to love to create things. One of my favorite things to make are props. On this slide, you are able to see a pomegranate I made from foam, hot glue, air clay, and some paint. This was made for my props class my sophomore year. You can see I really do like making fake food. This school year I've had the opportunity to make a bunch of prop food for our production of Tuck Everlasting. On the right, you are able to see an inspiration photo as well as some progress photos of me making funnel cake. And on the left, you're able to see some cotton candy I made out of wool row roving. Within a costume crafts class last year, I was able to learn how to style wigs. So here are some of the variations of different looks I have been able to create, all from different time periods. I've also had the opportunity to learn millinery, which is a formal name for hat making, in this costumes crafts class. This gave me the opportunity to learn more on how to better use patterns and how to use a lot of different kinds of stitches that I was unfamiliar with when it comes to sewing. And then here's a quick glance at some of my scene shift paperwork I've created as a stage manager. As you can see, I love using visual representations as well as color coding in my paperwork. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at some of the amazing things I've had the opportunity of working on during my time here at SIU.
Here it comes. The part I was talking about. The part that's not only a culmination of the entire plot, but it's the singular most fascinating reason. And I come back to this musical every time. You see, you can't quite hear what she says, because someone drops a cane. Yeah. You can't tell if she's saying, live while you can, or leave while you can. And, of course, it is Beatrice Stockwell, so it could just be some cynical quip. But we are at a wedding, and that is what you're thinking at the altar, isn't it? Is live or leave. And, of course, you have to live because you love her. Or at least you think you do. You know, in some way you do. You know, it's not an exact science, really. An arrow doesn't come out of the sky and point to the person you're supposed to be with. And so, one day you say, I love you, and they practically phrase it as a question, but they take it as fact. And all of a sudden you're standing there in front of her, and she's in a $3,000 dress with tears in her eyes, and her cousin made a chuppah. What are you supposed to say? I was kidding? I was joking! No, that would be cruel. It would be cruel to leave her there with her relatives all gathered here, and her uncle drove in from Flagstaff, and her father's already threatened to kill you one time, and so you live. And for a few months you stare at that alien lump in your bed. And you say, who are you? Who are you? And one day you say it out loud, and all of a sudden it's trial separation and couples counseling and all the conversations about her eating disorder and your Zoloft addiction. And all of a sudden you're reevaluating and revisiting and redefining, and then you lose the deposit on the house, and everything boils down to animated emails on your birthday. Last year it was rabbits. Happy birthday. But I guess in the broader sense, it was better to have lived than have left, right? Am I right?
Oh, darling, you're such an innocent. Really. My one regret is I honestly believe you'd have been a wonderful father. And I think, perhaps, someday you will be. Oh, yes. And I've another regret. That greedy doctor. I'm going to miss my fur coat. It's funny. always ends this way. Even when I do love someone quite terribly for the first time, but it's still not quite enough. I'd spoil it, Cliff. I'd run off with the first exciting thing that came along, or you would. You think the baby would have held us together, you mean? Oh, Cliff. What a terrible burden for an infant. Don't you think? And anyways, the truth is, Cliff, I always rather hated Paris.
What could he sitting alone in your room? Come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Down the knitting, the book and the broom. Time for a holiday. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Come taste the wine, come hear the band. Come blow your horn, start celebrating. Right this way, your table's waiting. No use permitting some prophet of doom to wipe every smile away. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. I used to have a girlfriend known as Elsie, with whom I shared 4 sordid rooms in Chelsea. She wasn't what you'd call a blushing flower. As a matter of fact, she rented by the hour. The day she died, the neighbors came